Welcome. I am so excited to have our next guest in the Legacy by Design series. Swami Ji, thank you so much for joining us. And let's start out by telling everybody who you are, what you do, and what do you stand for in the world?
Hello, everyone. My name is Swami Radeshwaranand. I have dedicated my life to serving humanity and help people spiritually and guide them get mentally strong and have a balanced life. My guru, my master, who had taught me everything and who is the inspiration, this is why I'm doing it. And I have followed his path, and I've been serving in this mission. Our organization name is Divya Jyoti, which is Divine Light World. And I've been serving in this organization for past 16 years, full time. So I took an oath not to marry and only serve humanity full time. So I've been doing this for past 16 years.
Awesome. So yeah, your legacy is really with all of humanity. I love it. So what does legacy mean to you, and why is it important for you to leave a legacy?
It's the good work that we do. Automatically, people remember that. That's not my intention to leave a legacy. But whenever you do something good and selfless, the world will remember automatically. But then if you try hard so people can remember, then you cannot work selflessly. And there's not a good chance that you will be remembered in good terms.
Absolutely. Awesome. Well, I know one of the things that you talk about is you help people master their mind so that they can manage stress to achieve a sound mind and body and health. How does the way that you do that, and how do you help people with that?
Now, in order to master your mind, we have to go inward. Everyone loves to go outward. They want to, engage in society. They want to, parties, and they want to music and, many things. Everything is about outside world. But no one's really paying attention what is happening inside. And all the chaos, all the depression, negativity, anxiety is all inside. So in order to cleanse that out from ourselves, we must travel on the inside so we can clean ourselves and purify ourselves so peace may exist. So I help people, get more in touch with their own self. And that's where the peace will be. And that's where you will realize how you can have a balanced life.
Oh, awesome. And so in this looking inward, so share with us some of the ways that you help people look inward in that process, because I know easily some people say, well, just meditate. But sometimes for people, that's not as easy as it sounds to just meditate.
For people, this is the hardest thing. You put them down, you said, sit for 5 minutes, focus on yourself. Less than 20 seconds, their mind is somewhere else. So that's the hardest thing to do. But once you master that, this is the most fun thing that you can do in your life, and most peaceful and excitement exists in this. So many people meditate in many different ways, focusing on a breath, focusing on a word, imagining you on a beach, relaxing yourself. But all of that is just scratching the surface. If you really want to master your own self and your own mind, one must be able to experience the self inside. Because if you just imagine, if you're sitting in front of a TV and there's no electricity and there's no connection, how long can you stare at a blank screen? Not long. You'll be bored. You just want to do something else. You want to get up, and this is not practical to sit before a blank screen. So when we are meditating, that's exactly what we're doing. We close our eyes. What do? There's nothing. It's pitch black. How long can you stay there, and how long can you focus in the darkness? So our saints and sages in our scriptures, every religion have stated that in this body, there's a higher being. we are all made in God's image, and God is light. So in this body, our true self exists, which is part of that divine light. So how can you gain that focus inside? Is once that divine light is visible, once that light is experienced inside, and you receive a technique how to connect and focus on that light, you could stay there hours in that light and ridding your negativity and focusing your mind and strengthening and conditioning your mind to be focused on one place at your own will. Not forceful thing, but it will be automatic, because when we watch a movie, we go to a cinema hall or we watch at home, and if the movie is interesting, does the mind run away? No, it doesn't. We are focused. And we even forget, if we are hungry and we even have to go to bathroom, we hold it because it's so interesting. We want to be there. So once you have that method, which is called brahmgyan, which is a way, a realized master, what he will do is ignite that fire inside. And by that mean, he will open the third eye and make you realize the self within your own body. And when you see and experience that divine light within your own body, then you know how to meditate and what to meditate upon. And it is a very interesting path. And once you learn that and you receive that path, you could sit there for hours conditioning yourself, uplifting yourself, and through that you control your mind, through that you strengthen your mind, through that you balance yourself.
All right, awesome. So for those who maybe are just starting out and they want to master their minds, what is the best way to kind of gradually, because you said it's starting small and then you're working you could be there forever. So what are some of the ways that people can start that journey to master their mind?
Well, initially, if you want to do it at home and you want to start practicing it, sit by yourself and focus on your breathing. As you inhale, keep your mind focused on the breath. And as you exhale, focus your mind on the breath. Because mind is scattered in many, many different directions. 1,000 things are, taking place in our head. So you want to extract your mind from all the thoughts and bring it to one thing, and that is on your breath. So initially, sit for even 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and take slow and deep breaths. And while you're breathing, keep your mind focused only on the breath and nothing else.
Awesome. That's awesome. Great. So now, of course, we're talking with families. We're talking about relational wealth principles. And I know one of the topics that you discussed was what was wealth used for? So I'd love to hear from your perspective, what is wealth used for?
Well, wealth can be used for many different things. People use wealth for to fulfill their own desires, to, advance themselves in society, and even show off to others how much they have and how much they possess, and they are superior than others. So it plays many different roles in individual's life. But if you are enlightened and if you are uplifted being, if you have realized that there's more to life than just this physical world and this physical body and physical things, then you discover that wealth can be used for so many great things. Because as human beings, it's our nature. It's not we have departed far away from our true nature. But once you realize who you are, you realize that having opportunity in this world as human being is the greatest thing to serve others. And when you serve others and help those who are in need, the peace and the contentment that you derive from it cannot be compared to anything in the world. You could have a nice car, you could have a nice watch, nice clothes, nice, house, everything. It's good. You should. But what's beyond that? Then what do you do? Because people have, some people don't have enough to feed themselves, and some people have enough that generations could sit and just live off it. But once you have those basic things, what do you do with the wealth? And the void that you feel, how do you fill that gap? One should use wealth wisely. If you do have wealth and you have enough, there are so many opportunities and so many people in need that if you can help some people, fulfill their needs and necessities and help them in any way, any possible way, you will feel good about yourself. And that's why wealth can be used to serve humanity. And by serving them, you are actually serving yourself, because the peace that you're going to derive from it and the happiness you're going to feel is beyond imagination.
Absolutely. I always say whenever I'm having a bad day, I just focus out, because it always makes me feel better. Whenever I'm going through it and, life's coming at me, and I just focus out, and it's right. It makes me, for me, it absolutely, gives me back perspective and brings joy for me.
Definitely. We always focus ourselves on ourselves. That's why small problems always seem so big. But if we just, open our eyes to the world and see how much suffering exists in the world and how people are surviving, you realize that you are really blessed to have the life that you have. So helping others is really good for, self-improvement and feeling good about yourself too.
Absolutely. And one of the terms that you talk about is affluenza. Mm-hmm. What is affluenza?
Now, when a child is born in a doctor's house, automatically from childhood, we see that, child want to be a doctor, he sees doctor, his father coming home, wearing white coat, talking all these medical terms. And there's always, because child looks up to the parents, right? They become our first role models. So we want to be like them. Okay, if somebody's a cop and have a child, child always, acting like a cop and holding gun, like this. So when we are born in a wealthy family, then the success that your role model had gained in life, we always want to outperform them, to show, even prove to them that we are, good and we are better than them and they should be proud of us. So when we are born in a wealthy family, some children, develop this obsession that they want to outperform their parents or their family. And having those desires, they lose touch with the reality, because some people, they want to be successful at any cost, right? So they lose morals in their life, what's right, what's wrong. They do not pay attention to that, because their goal, their eyes are fixed on their goal, and that is to become successful at any cost. So on that way, when you are hurting others, when you are deceiving others, when there's no values in your life, then only chaos and only, pain and suffering and anxiety will exist. Because where you're going to find peace is when you are helping others, when you are, spiritually, uplifting, and your consciousness is rising. But by deception, by, worldly gains, you lack out on self-improvement. So when your goals become just to prove to others, or not that we shouldn't, but in a right way, that in a right path, and when that right path and morality will exist in us, and we can distinguish and discriminate between right and wrong, then success will bring, happiness in one's life, or contentment. But if it's based on just, jealousy and greed and just proving others, we are better, then only chaos. So when children are born in wealthy family, they lose, basic values that we should live, because we have always been provided for. We never had to work hard, and working hard gives us right perspective in life. who we are, how to, improve and succeed. It helps us to grow as a person. And when you grow like that, then, right things will happen and right things will fall and in your lap, and good opportunities will come. But when we have wrong intentions and wrong ways of, gaining success, then peace cannot exist.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. I mean, how beautiful you said. It's like when you're chasing that success, to move away from, proving somebody wrong or for whatever reason versus the true pleasure of your purpose and your calling and what you're creating. And just, it's an absolutely different place. You're on the hamster wheel versus that piece of being in your purpose. So I love the way you said that. And how does this affect families relationally, dealing with this affluenza?
Now, in order for families to have, that connection, that bond, we must share a common goal. Now, if everyone's goal is totally different and they're going in many different directions, how will unity exist? How will that relationship will strengthen? If everyone's pushing and walking in the opposite direction, then there's no, in order to spend time with somebody, we must have common goals and similar interests. Now, if somebody wants, go south and the other one's going north, how are you going to spend time together? And how are you going to, have that bond between relationships? So that's why when people have different goals and they're only working on their, selfish needs and wants and desires, then that love that should be there doesn't exist. Then we are only doing things to fulfill our selfish motives and the goals that we have. We're trying to fulfill them without caring what happens to the other, member or family or sibling or parents. And we lose that unity, we lose that bond, and we lose that love. And that's a very sad thing to do.
Mm-hmm. I love that. When families have a common goal, they're able to really create that unity to work together. I love it. And,
worldly way, if we're looking at it, we might have different goals, but we should all have one common goal, and that is to love ourselves and uplift ourselves. Spirituality, if we can bring that common goal among all, which will help everyone, and then you can unite at the higher level beyond the mental capacity and intellectual and physical, but you connect at a spiritual level. And at that level, everyone is same and everyone is part of everyone. And at that level, then only unity will exist. Only love will exist.
I love it. It reminds me of a word, interdependent, where they're independent and they're in their identity, but also come together to be able to work together interdependently together. So I love the way you beautifully phrased that. And so speaking of children, how do we raise spiritual children?
Now, many people come to me and they ask, I want my children to be good, have moral values. I don't want them to smoke. I don't want to, have them drinking and partying. I want them to be focused on education and their lives and careers. Now, is it possible that if you smoke, you tell your child, do not smoke, it's really bad for you, that they will listen? No. If they see you from childhood that you are smoking, that, it's a matter of time before they pick up that habit. And if somebody, drinks, parents drink at home, but they're telling their child, alcohol is bad for you, it's going to damage your liver and it's not good for your body and it's going to shut down your, intellect when you're drunk and you do bad things. But they themselves drink every night or every weekend. You think the child's going to listen to their words, or they'll see their actions and take those actions and adapt them in their life? Same exact way. Every parent wants their child to be good. and they want their child to have moral values and have a good career and be a perfect person in the world. Yet they themselves, if they're doing wrong things and they're not, the words that they are speaking, they're not practicing those words, then no matter what you tell your child, it's not going to happen. So before we can, help our children grow up to be spiritual or as good human beings, we should first work on ourselves, become good, and show them what good is. And you will be their role model, and you will greatly, greatly influence how they live their life and how they grow up to be perfect human beings. But first, you must become an example for them, not just say the words. Words are empty. Words mean no value. Words have no influence on anybody, maybe for a very small period of time. But eventually, however you are, your child will look up to you and learn from you. That's why in the scriptures, it is said that mother and father are the first gurus, teachers of a child. Because very first thing, the basic things, the child learns from the parents.
Absolutely. It's what is the example you're setting? Because they're going to do what you do, not do what you say.
Exactly.
So many people will say that. It's so true. They're going to model after you. Absolutely. And
but the funny thing is, no one wants to change themselves, but they want their children to be good.
It's so true. Oh, it's so true. Like, that's such a truth nugget there. It's so easy to say, do this, but absolutely. But actually walking the talk and modeling that example is where it starts. So absolutely, in doing that. And so really when we talk about families that are walking this journey together through the next generation, a lot of times there's a lot of change that can happen, and a lot of times, I know in my own family's journey that part of this message came out of me when my father was going through an illness. And so there was a lot of changes that had to happen in our family. And so it really started to kind of affect, the family business and money conversations we were having. And so I know one thing you talk about is how we can embrace change together. So I'd love for you just to share what are some of the ways that families can embrace change together.
See, when you become spiritual and you expand your consciousness and inside the divine wisdom expands, it is very easy to adapt change. For people, it is very hard. It's very tough. They don't know how to adapt to change, and they struggle because there's a conflict. They want to do something else, but something else happens. But those who expand their consciousness, they become like water. You put them, you take the example of water, you put it in any type of pot or glass or cup, any shape, it will take the shape of the glass or of the pot. It doesn't, go against its nature. It doesn't resist. So when you do not resist, then any situation comes, you'll be very easily adapted. But when you have your own ego at work, when you have your own ideology, you're very strong with that ideology and the way of life and way of thinking, the way you perceive things in the world, it is very hard to change. My master, his name is Ashutosh Maharaji. He said one thing very beautifully. He said, if you take a young bamboo, you can bend it in any way you want. But when the bamboo matures, you cannot bend it. If you'll try to bend it, it will break. So everyone has become like that dried bamboo. They are very strong in the way of their thinking and the way of living. And if you try to, change them, people usually break, Through spirituality, one can stay like that, young and fresh and green and flexible bamboo. In any direction you can mold it, any direction you can bend it. With situation, you will be very easily be able to adopt it. But if you are not, if you're a very, worldly person and you have no connection with your own self, it will be very hard and it will bring a lot of pain in life, because nothing, most of the time, the things we want do not happen. The way we want things, they do not go the way we want. No, the way we want people or relationships to be, they do not, turn out to be like that. So there is always things not going to happen your way. And if you're not flexible inside, it's going to bring a lot of pain and anxiety in life. So through spirituality, one can expand their consciousness, and one can bring that flexibility inside within our own minds, that anything that may come in our life, we may easily adapt and change to it.
Wow. That's that's a term that I've said, flexibility with behavior, but you put that in such a beautiful way. I love the way you tied it to that bamboo. It was such a great visual of being able to, not resist the change, but willing to be open.
Yes.
So I love that. And I know one other, you talk about a lot, when we talk about these families, right now, statistically, families over the generations, within the second generation, 2/3 of them end up, the family wealth is gone. And a lot of times it's from the family relationships are strained, and there's a lot of things from, within the family, they become disconnected. And I know you share a lot about dealing with emotions, anger, and different emotions. And so when you think of some of these families who become disconnected and have strained relationships, can you help share some ways that families can come back together to, come back to being unity, help resolving some of these negative emotions or events that maybe cause this disconnection?
Now it's all comes down to people's desires. When you desire wealth and when you desire money, then your goal is beyond relationships and love and your own and blood and all of that. Then money is everything. But money is not everything. It takes years and years to develop trust in each other, to create that bond and love. But if money comes in between, that love is broken in seconds. That bond is broken in seconds, because we give more value to money than anything in anything in the world. But that's why people suffer. That's why there's so much pain in people's life, because they give value to something that has, less value than other things. There's nothing more valuable than having, a brother in your life who has your back, sister in your life who you can trust, parents that, you can fall back upon. But people do not give that. They give value to money and properties and wealth of this world, which is temporary. You could lose wealth in mere seconds. So if we can realize and rise above those desires, only then we'll be able to accept and give more value to relationships than just a wealth and properties. But the only way you could do that, if you will self-realize. If you will realize that everything in this world is transitory. All the wealth, all the properties, today are ours, tomorrow they're going to be somebody else's. The house we live in, if we go back and search the property records, we will realize many people came and lived and claimed that house to be theirs. But now they are nowhere to be seen. Where are they? Those people who built the house with so much, care and love and spent so much time decorating it, that stuff has no value for us. What we do when we move in, we take everything and throw it out, and we redecorate the way we like, and we say, this is my house. But after some years, it's going to be somebody else's. So once we uplift internally and connect with our real self, we come to realization that nothing in this world is permanent. The only one thing that is permanent is your real self. That power that exists in this body, that is permanent. That truth, God, that power is permanent. To connect with that truth, to connect with that divine power is really what's meaningful. And once you realize that, then you will hold more value to, to relationships and less just wealth and properties. Yes, it would be good if everyone realized that, and there won't be any issues, but not everyone does. And majority of the people give, they'll do anything for money or property. They'll do great deceptive things, even to their own loved ones. So it's a great sadness that people don't realize that relationships and your parents and your siblings, your spouse, they should hold more value than wealth. But to release that, they must uplift spiritually. Only then they can release those negative emotions, because that negativity has made home in their mind, and nobody can take that out but that person, himself or herself. And through meditation and through contemplation, one can release that negativity and realize the real value of life.
I love the way you started that out, is that they have to desire to want to have the relationships and be able to choose those relationships over the material things of money. It's so simple, but so profound. That you had said that. And, I know, most people don't set out to consciously to say, hey, I'm going to choose money over family. It's not usually a conscious choice people say, but it seems to happen over and over again. So Can you maybe share some insight? I mean, I know you've worked with probably thousands and tens of thousands of people. And can you share some of the common themes that seem to kind of come up when people start to discover their true self and, and realize that they were really choosing money over their relationships and those things? Can you really maybe share some light of like how some people, where that came from for them or how they got there?
Well, it's a very natural desire to want more and because that's what we see in the world, that people running after worldly things and possessions and after wealth. So people run. We are conditioned from childhood to desire more and to succeed in the world, to gain more wealth. But when our goals are only that, we lose a lot in life. I have seen people's marriages getting destroyed because one spouse saw opportunity that she or he can have more by divorcing and this and that. So many things happen, but we lose happiness in life. And when the greatest sadness is that we do not realize what we have lost until we have lost it. Okay, people don't take everything for granted, and they don't know the value of it. But once we lose it, then we realize the value, but then it's too late. I have many people come to me who I have counseled and told them, don't do this in life. This is not good for you. You'll regret it. But at that moment, other opportunities seemed more important. And once that time passed and they lost what was really valuable, a relationship or, something good, then they regret because they don't find peace in that success that they thought was going to bring them peace and happiness. So in life, until we don't center ourselves and ground ourselves and really understand what we have and what value it has, we'll be so blinded. And with every small opportunity that it may come in our life, we will try to take it, but we do not know the cost that we will pay, the price we will pay in order to, gain a little bit in life. So it is better realize what you have before you lose it.
I love the way you said that. We're not going to know the value until it's gone. So that's so profound. And once it's at that place, absolutely. And so I know we're just getting close to the end of our time. A few more questions. One is, this is the bonus round. This might be the toughest question for you. And so if, you're going to be banned to a desert island and you only get to have 3 things you can have, what would those be, those three things, Swami, you would want?
That would be my breath. That would be a balanced mind. And that would be, just enough food to survive on.
Got it. Okay. So food, that's your weakness is food. I got it.
Only enough so we can survive, because in order to meditate, in order to elevate, in order to realize higher things, the body must survive first. So food, enough, not for taste, for survival. Right mind, because this mind could go, downward at any moment. We do not know. And I have seen it happen. People living good life, everything is good. But when this mind, too much negativity develops inside, they destroy their lives. What they have built in 20, 30, 40 years, I have seen people destroying it in few years. So right mind is necessary, because without that, we cannot accomplish anything for our own self or help anyone in the world. So right mind, the breaths, and necessary food.
Got it. Breath. I almost thought you said your brush. So I'm glad
breath.
you just clarified that.
Breath.
Got it. Awesome. And so, what is some imparting wisdom you have for the listeners before we end our time together?
Look a little bit beyond what you see in the world. Life is not, small 50, 60, 80 years. Soul is eternal. Our self is eternal. The physical life and the worldly things that we see are all transitory. Look beyond that and try to strive for that. And striving for that, you will discover that peace exists in your own heart. Happiness exists in your own heart. Everything that you ever wanted is right inside of your own body, because this body is living temple of God. Everything is inside. Even God is inside. So all you need to do is travel a little bit within. Find a realized teacher, a spiritual teacher who can open your third eye and make you realize the power that you are. Make you experience the light within. And upon that, then meditate and expand your consciousness. And you will realize that anything that we worry about and everything that we worry about in life today, most of it, 95%, is unnecessary. You're worrying about nothing. 95%, the things we worry about do not happen in life. So you're wasting 95% of your energy on useless things. So travel inside, realize your higher self, so you may lead a happy and peaceful life. And if you are happy and peaceful, that's what you will give the world and your loved ones as well, because you can only give them what you have and nothing else. So find peace within and spread peace on the outside as well.
Oh, thank you. Those are beautiful words. Now, I know some of our listeners are definitely going to want to connect with you more. How do they connect with you?
You can go to our website, divinelightworld.org, and you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Divine Light World. And every week we have a spiritual uplifting talk, spiritual discourses, and you can connect with us. You can call us anytime, day and night. I'm here to help people, those who are in need. They need counseling. We counsel on the phone, in person. Right now, due to COVID, we are not open in person counseling, but on the phone, anyone can call me and I will guide them spiritually, how to come out of their daily stress or, any type of need that they have. I will be happy to help them.
Oh, well, Swami, thank you so much. I just thank you for who you are and what you do, and for really dedicating your life to helping people manage their minds, reduce stress, but really for them to find the light within them, because we know once that light and they find it, they will shine it to the world, and we know how much impact that will create. So thank you so much for who you are and what you do.
Thank you very much, and hopefully speak to you guys soon again.
Awesome. Thank you, Swami. All right. Bye-bye.